Hi guys, and welcome back to Ask Rhyce, where I answer your questions about real estate. Today is just part 2 of how to select the right agent. Previously we discussed negotiation, marketing. We also discussed how a good agent should be able to guide you through what the sales process will look like, and also guide you to where your home represents value. Sometimes it's quite easy looking at comparable sales. It's easy to pinpoint, but other times you really need a good agent to help guide you to where value is, because sometimes there's just not a good like-for-like comparison for your home. So that's what we touched on last time. Today, I wanted to go into probably the final 2 components for me when you're selecting an agent, and obviously, just as important as the previous ones we discussed. So, first of all, one that a lot of agents may not talk about outside of that when they have to within the process of being selected or an interview with a potential seller, and that's commission. Commission is one of those ones that I think people place a lot of focus on commission, there in the moment, and I think that at the end of the day, the cheapest agent is not necessarily the one who might present with what seems to be the cheapest commission. What I mean by that is that the cheapest agent really is the one that when everything's said and done, they're the ones who you net the most money as the seller. And look, in my experience, that's rarely the cheapest agent on commission. The reason for that is that a good agent, someone who's really good at their job, should be able to comfortably get you more than the difference that a cheaper agent may seemingly be presenting. So as an example, if we're selling a home, and let's say it's a $300,000 home, quite common in my area, if we were the selling agent and there was a 1% difference between the two of us, that's $3,000. Now, previously we've spoken about in the last video on how to select your agent, part 1, we spoke about negotiation skills. Now, for me, $3,000 in a negotiation, yes, that makes a lot of difference, but that's something that a good agent should be able to comfortably outperform, a cheaper agent. So, just a single conversation should be the difference between $3,000. I would expect that a good agent, the difference between a good agent and an agent that's coming in with a very discount or a cheap commission could be more like 2, 3, up to 5%, that a good agent should be able to get you on top of what they are, what the cheaper agent is. Now that's based on the whole process and what a full service agent can do for you. Recently we had Purple Bricks. A lot of people might have heard of them before. We've seen similar operators in the past in Australia who work on a fixed fee or something similar, like a cheap entry point in terms of commission or what they charge. Those businesses just aren't sustainable, and I find that like a lot of things in life, you tend to get what you pay for. If you're not paying for much, you don't tend to get much in return. I guess the best example there is, a good agent should really be able to make up more than the difference. I would back myself every day of the week against an agent who's 1% less than me or more, to be able to get a better result and negotiate and trust that our process and how we sell homes is going to net you more money. So guys, just bear that in mind when you're interviewing agents. Look, lots of agents will charge a similar amount of commission. Here in Queensland, we're deregulated, which just means that an agent, if you were happy with them, they could charge 10% if they wanted to. The most common fees that we probably see here in Queensland would be anywhere from 3.5%. I've heard of agents charging down at 1.5%. So in my experience, the agent at 3.5% and the agent at 1.5%, you're going to get very, very different levels of not just service, but also experience and skill, and your end result is going to be very, very different. So just another way to view commissions. So hope that helps. The next one would be probably a knock-on, because I do think that your level of service, depending on the agent. If you are going for someone who was a cheaper commission, your level of service might not be the same as what you would get with a full service agent. So service is probably the last thing. In the first video I touched on that, one of my main role really is negotiation, but equally it's service, it's customer service, it's looking after my client who I'm selling a property for, but it's also looking after the consumer or the buyer of the property. So I think it's really important that that an agent be able to, if you're interviewing an agent, you're trying to select an agent, they should be able to talk you through about what to expect and how they plan to service you as the client. There's lots of different ways that service can be provided, but what I wanted to talk on was probably just a couple of key things. The first one would be fully informed. A good agent should keep you fully informed throughout the sale. So fully informed, what does that mean? Look, there's lots of different takes on this. Some agents will send you, detailed written reports, all that sort of stuff. At the end of the day, for me, all that really matters is that you as the client, that you're happy and that you feel as though no stone's been left unturned. Your agent is completely on top of things. At the end of the day, you employ an agent to look after your sale and get you the most amount of money. So fully informed, think of it that way. Have they got, again, I refer back to process. What's their process for keeping you fully informed? One of my golden rules, for example, is I finish an inspection. If I finish an inspection at a home and if I haven't spoken to the owner at the property or they haven't met me there straight afterwards, is to give them a call and just say, hey, we just finished the inspection. If it's an open home, for example, I'm not going to know a lot of detail. I'll know some details about the people that came through property, but I'm not going to know a lot. But I still want to give the owner on the spot, let them know, hey guys, we had 5 groups through. General take was positive. This particular couple were a standout. I'll be back in touch with you once we've followed them up and just to find out if they've got any further interest. Those sorts of things. That's part of keeping fully informed. The next one, fully informed. To me, the next one, you need to be fully informed in order for the agent, as part of their service, they should be progressing your sale. Progressing your sale, what that means is that there's none of us have a crystal ball. I think I referred to it earlier on. If we knew, around marketing, if we knew where the buyer would come from, we would just market there. But we don't. So the idea is that we've got a fully covered marketing campaign to make sure that no buyer is missed wherever they happen to be looking. Progressing the sale means that same thing. We don't know necessarily that we're going to hit right on the nail from day one. That that's the right price, for example, or that that's the right marketing campaign for it, or maybe we should package the home a little bit differently. So I think that a good agent has the ability to progress your sale. It's very quick for a property to become stale. You can list a property with all the good intentions in the world, but if you're not on the ball making sure that it's still moving, you've got momentum and you're making progress, it's very easy for it to become stale and just stall, really, and for buyers to lose enthusiasm about the property. So progressing the sale for me could be anything from, it could be price reductions. Price reductions are a reality. A lot of owners, I think, get caught up in, it's going to look bad. I think that most buyers don't really care. All they care about is that if your price was too high, that now it represents better value. That's all it is. There's nothing more to it. So price reductions could be one part of progressing your sale. If the price point that you've set yourselves, buyers aren't responding with it, you don't represent value, then a price reduction could be a great way to fix that up. But it's not always just price. It could be, hey, look, we need to present the home in a different manner. So maybe you've got a guest bedroom that's being set at the moment. It's currently being used as, I don't know, for example, a rumpus room or something like that. And when buyers are coming through the property, they're more perceiving the property and they're not perceiving that's actually a bedroom, for example. So it's not aligning with where value should be, not because there's anything wrong with the property. Maybe the price is, maybe it's not the price necessarily, maybe it's just the way you've presented the home. So how can you change the presentation? Or there could be something else. It could be something in the yard that needs to be addressed. There could be something that comes up based on feedback from buyers that you can control as the seller and the agent. So to me, that comes back to progressing the sale. The other thing with progressing the sale is simply just, how's your agent going in terms of the inquiry you've had? So over a campaign, you're going to accumulate quite a lot of inquiry. In my experience, it pays that if you, even if someone has initially said, no, look, that house isn't for us, if you haven't progressed to a sale, it might be a couple of weeks later, has your agent gone back to those people who came through early on? Maybe their situation has changed and maybe your property could actually be a fit a couple of weeks down the track. So I do think that progressing the sale is, you could look at it as price reductions. Is there anything else you can control and change, whether it's presentation, and just diligently following people up, just making sure that, is there someone that we've spoken with previously, maybe they should reconsider the property. They're all great ways to help progress the sale. So does the agent have a plan to help you progress the sale? That's another a key one that comes under service. The final one I'll talk about is solving problems and keeping deals together. So most people, once we enter into a contract or we finally get a deal together, it's exciting, all that sort of stuff. Unless it's a cash unconditional deal where there's no conditions, most of the time we've got building and pests or we've got finance clauses or something there. What's your agent's ability and how do they approach those items? I've witnessed and I've seen agents who, once the pen's signed, contract's under contract, they drop the ball and they leave it. And then if something comes up, so say for example, you have your building a pest inspection, there's a problem that comes up. Is your agent, can they talk you through? Hey, look, if there is an issue, this is how we're going to deal with it. Or are they more, oh well, yeah, it is what it is, and let the deal go. I think one of the key skills that a good agent has is keeping deals together, making sure. So think about it. I spoke about progressing the sale. Let's just say progressing the contract, making sure we actually get to settlement, keeping the deal together. And I think the biggest thing with keeping the deals together is, again, comes back to keeping everyone fully informed. So buyer, seller, what's going on, staying in touch, checking with solicitors, making sure that everything is still progressing. So, there's a common theme here, fully informed, progressing. I think that comes right through to contract stage. When you're talking to your agent, I would, if I was interviewing an agent, I'd just be talking to them and asking about, what happens if something goes wrong with our sale, or if we get to contract and there's an issue there, what are the likely scenarios? So I think, an agent, one of their key skills should be keeping deals together. And in order to do that, they've got to solve problems, or at least know how to approach solving problems. So guys, I really hope that helps. Selecting your agent is a massive decision, and different agents, you can get wildly different outcomes. So I think that don't take it lightly. Make sure you're comfortable with who you choose, and honestly, if you've got any questions about selecting an agent, or if you're in the process of it and you're just not sure, feel free to reach out. More than happy to answer questions or have a look at proposals, anything like that. But guys, just to recap, good agent should have a process for selling. They should be able to guide you as to where your home sits value-wise, and where buyers will actually get excited and want to purchase it. They should be a really good negotiator. Marketing, they should have some sort of plan. Like, marketing is not just throw a heap of darts at the wall and wish for the best. Marketing's strategic, and they need to have experience in that, and be wary of marketing that's inclusive or free, because you rarely get much, if anything, for a free campaign. The final two things to touch on was commission. The cheapest agent is the one who gets you the most money. It's not necessarily the one who presents on day one, who happens to be 1% cheaper and based on your house. So say if your house is $500,000, you got one agent at 3%, one at 2%, there's a $5,000 difference. That agent at 3%, what if they get you $10,000 more? Just worth considering. And rarely is a cheap or the cheapest agent quite often will cost you money. So just worth bearing in mind. The final thing would be around service. So service is something that it changes with all agents, but the key things for me are staying fully informed throughout the process, throughout the contract, right up to settlement. Progressing the sale. So again, to me, this comes back to service. Your agent servicing, you're letting you know, do you need to change the price? Is there something that needs to be changed with the house? If we're not moving towards buyers putting in offers and you're going to contract, how are they going to progress the sale? What happens when things don't go to plan? And the final thing, keeping deals together. What's your agent like? Have they had, just ask them, have you had any problems with deals lately? Has finance been going through on properties? Have you been having much problems? We've got a concern about, maybe it's worth you getting a building and pest inspection, but you've got a concern about part of your house. You're not sure if it's gonna, you're not gonna pass, or buyers could see it as an issue. You should be able to talk to your agent and actually see what their take is on that and get a real sense of okay, right, if we use this agent or we select this agent, this is what it should look like. So guys, I really hope that helps. Selecting your agent, it's not the easiest thing to do. More than happy to answer questions. If you've got any questions about real estate or selecting an agent, please post them in the comments below and I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks.